I don't know if you guys heard, but there was a presidential debate that happened last night, and frankly, this is the first time when I'm covering a big debate or a big meeting like this that I've only watched through the debate one singular time, and frankly, this is the first time in a long time I was completely and totally caught off guard. Like, in politics right now, I've observed how many I'd really have to think about at presidential cycles, but nothing has ever come across as astroturf, as inauthentic as this current cycle right now, for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, the way that Biden was just thrown to the four corners of the wind, and then even before that, the way that the media was just simply propping him up like, no, this isn't Weekend at Bernie's. And then there was that debate, and then, all of a sudden, actually, you know what, he is a rambling, shambling zombie. We probably should oust him for the chick that can't even get a full percentage point of support from her own home state. Like, if everything is open, honest, fair, and true come November, 56 days were removed, or I guess it would be 55, because I think that's what I heard touted during the debate. 55 days removed from the actual election, which is wild to think about. Here we are, we've been waiting for this day for 4 years, or at least I have. And with one side of this debate already openly calling for and advocating for a second debate in early October, well, I really hope there's an audience this time around, because the world to see and for the world to observe, because I'm sure in the next couple of days we'll get viewership figures, and I'd imagine it'd be probably pretty huge given the fact that it was taking place on a major cable network and it was being streamed everywhere. Hell, you could catch it on Hulu and Disney Plus, for Christ's sakes. Like, this was everywhere, and frankly, there were some viral moments if you were paying attention, as you can see right from that headline there. Trump-Harris presidential debate, live updates, reactions, fiercest moments, sharpest zingers, and let's be completely honest, there was one side of this equation that was affording the zingers, the fiercest moments, and it wasn't that vacant pantsuit down there on the Democratic ballot. You know, this was full-on 2016 Trump, baby. He was absolutely unhinged at certain points in the best possible way, bringing up the eating of house pets in Springfield, Ohio, stealing the thunder of Kamala Harris, because the way that they were colluding with the debate moderators, they were trying to set her up, set that all on the tee, so, well, knowing Kamala, she'd probably be more willing to go out mouth first than with a bat in her hand, to use her catchphrase of, I'm speaking, but you know who got out in front of that? Oh, that'd be T-Money right there, baby. It was vintage Trump performance, but, not that I'm going to be getting ahead of myself and playing too much of a homer. I mean, like, the hats right there, it pretty much spells it out for you. But what did the public think about this? Well, apparently 2/3 of respondents believe that Kamala Harris was the victor on the this is CNN's instant poll, and if you take a look at Fox's instant poll, 90%. Here's the thing, man, these debates going in, you're just watching for the red meat. You're watching for the sizzle, not so much for the steak. Everybody's basically made up their minds at the end of it. And at the end of it, I mean, this probably tells you more than any first reaction polls ever will. If the Democrats thought that they did exceedingly well against the great MAGA king, they have to roll out the Swiftie endorsement right now. Oh, but no, this was 100% authentic, okay? She was just waiting to make clear until the end of this first debate who she was gonna vote for. Like, let's be completely honest, man. Like, we've got this bitch on camera crying, sitting just like an absolute child that she really mentally is, cross-legged on a couch, deriding the orange man because he's just so bad. But yeah, Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris minutes after the presidential debate. I've made my choice. You made your choice months, years ago at this point in time. Like, she was out there stumping for Hillary Clinton back when nobody really gave a shit about her, and then all of a sudden, now that she's achieved some level of superstardom, yeah, she's the go-to Democrat surrogate. Like, get out of here, man. Come on. Taylor Swift on Tuesday said she is voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. Shocking very few, who followed her political leanings in the past. Yeah, exactly. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe. Yeah, need a warrior to champion them. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I watched through the debate. I didn't take any notes. I've been, pretty busy all day. I've been pretty busy all year so far, but I made sure I did my due diligence, and the strongest points that Kamala was landing some body blows on yeah, it was the first topic. It was on abortion, which is, I guess, what a 35-year-old spinster needs to concern herself with for the next couple of years that she's going to be fertile. But that's nice. In that picture, I actually prefer the cat than Casper the Friendly Ghost's little sister, but, I prefer the cat in a non-Haitian sort of way, which Trump also brought up. Like, come on, man. Like, he was in rare form that night, but she goes on and is like, recently I was made aware of AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run. Yeah, we knew that was all crap, okay? I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz. You're the only person, because everybody looked at that and went, seriously? Yo, the governor of Minnesota, the only state that voted for Mondale in 84. Like, you really need to lock down that Somali vote, huh? All right, then. Who's been standing up for gay rights, IVF, which actually Trump is stronger on than, but whatever, don't worry about it, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. So basically, you only care about what makes your junk feel a certain way. I'm so glad you're the thought leader for a generation. THOUGHT, not THOT, even though you can use them interchangeably in her sense. I've done my research. I've made my choice. Bitch, you're as much of a partisan as the guy wearing a motherfucking MAGA hat in a video. Like, for Christ's sakes, come on. Let's talk about some of the points that were down there. What were some of the debate topics that they discussed? Obviously, yeah, started off with abortion, and it's so funny how Kamala is going to go ahead and blame the guy who wasn't in office when Roe v. Wade was taken down. Who's the vice president at the end of the day? Oh, right, somebody who made it time and time again. Like, the through line for Kamala was, oh, we need a change, okay? We can't be looking back into the past. That's why we need a fresh face. The fresh face that has been the vice president for 3.5 years, and the same person that doesn't want to look back, that would bring back the old Charlottesville hoaxes. Hell, even some of Donald Trump's, private life real estate dust-ups from the goddamn, 70s and 80s? That's what you're bringing up, but we need to look forward to the future. We need to stop reminiscing with the past. Bringing up January 6th, the 2020 election cycle. I think there were even shout-outs to the COOF and how, Trump was so bad on that stuff, and her revisionist history that was being bolstered by certain colleagues that were just off camera right there, but we'll get to that in due time. But yeah, as you can see, we need to look forward and not be, be unburdened in the future by being negligent of what happened in the past. Well, I guess if you've achieved the level that you have in public office by barely ever winning an election, literally ever, you wouldn't want to have to reminisce on what you've had to do in order to get into those fancy offices that you occupy. But yeah, talking about the 2020 election over and over again, yeah, and then moving on to international conflicts, which, how could anybody in the Biden administration positively spin the way that they have handled international relations? It's absolutely absurd to think that, oh yeah, you know what? I'm the one. I met with Zelensky like 5 times, and he knows that if he needs to, a few $1 billion, all he needs to do is just ring me up, and I'll be able to cut a check just like that. But yeah, some of the quotes from this little topic. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. Listen, I've never thought about voting for Kamala Harris, but Trump, man, you're being a better advocate than anybody else. Anyways, and I've been pretty good at predictions. I'm hoping I'm wrong about that one. Something else that really put me off on Kamala, like even more so than her policies and the person that she is, just the way that she talks, like her vocal intonation. Like, I'm recording this at 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? Like I said, I'm a busy man, but at the same time, I need to make room in order to talk about, the big T money 45 and 47, if you will. Just Kamala's vocal fry, her intonations. Like, if people wouldn't vote for Robert F. Kennedy because he sounds like a old Craftsman lawnmower trying to get started under a bridge where old Uncle Teddy likes to park and dispatch with his dinner dates, why on earth would anybody vote for somebody who talks about everything with the same passion? It sounds like this. She always sounds like she's either on the brink of crying because her entire political career is flashing before her very eyes, or she just sounds so scared and just uncertain about what she wants to talk about. It's like, bitch, you're over 60. Grow up or get off stage. We must have a 2-state solution, and that solution, there's the security for the Israeli people. I thought you're running for president of the United States, but if you know who's running what, it makes more sense while they're talking about this. But Trump throwing out the whole Asian immigrants are eating dogs, that shit was wild and hilarious and great and timely. Meanwhile, Kamala had all of her pre-rehearsed talking points, and people are saying, they're looking at her, pearl earrings, which I guess I seem to recall her talking about some sentimentality attached to that stuff from years back. Oh, these are my mom's pearls, and we have a long and storied history of wearing pearl necklaces out in public. So of course she was going to wear one on the debate stage, saying that, yeah, it might have been an earpiece. And you would think the way that, she was really strong. Like, I'll say this also about Kamala. She was incredibly well prepared for answering the questions, but when it came to her dexterity to answer anything off the cuff, like the way that Trump would bring up, his assassination attempt, I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy. And all she could do is just pull one of her weird faces and try hard not to. Called to speak to ABC's manager. Yeah, talked about Ukraine and how Trump is a Putin puppet. Remember, this is the chick that wants to look forward. She wants to turn the page on history. She doesn't want to rehash anything, but hey, take a look at this Russiagate thing. Isn't this a cool new development? And immigration, that was what Trump, and because he knows that he's strong on that, and Harris is laughably weak on it because she's the border czar. Did you guys forget about that? She's the border czar. Trump and his economy, Trump was strong on immigration. Our administration was fantastic on this stuff, and those people, they ruined it. Every single time that Trump was posited with a question, he would find a way to work it back to the strongest economy in American history, or the porous southern border, just like clockwork. He was incredibly sharp, citing statistics, not having brain farts. I'm pretty sure Kamala, she stumbled over her words more than Trump ever did. And it's so funny, the whole age thing that they were trying to run with, the Democrats and the media that they were trying to run with, that didn't really come up, at least when I heard it. Obviously, I'm going to be running this back in the next few days to just see what all the fallout is going to be, especially over the weekend, because the media and the Democrats are definitely going to have to take stock of this performance for as many performative polls that this is, that, she did so great, and the Kamala momentum or celebrity endorsements that they can capture over the next couple of days. They're really going to have to reckon with reality, especially. You got, a Harris spokesman calling for a second debate in October. It's like, normally in a presidential cycle, you're expected to have 3. So I always thought that, there was going to be 3. But as you can see here, there is something. And chances are, if you've caught any coverage in the interim of this debate, either on the night or earlier this morning, you would have also figured out that, there was one more consistent through line when it came to this debate, and it was most certainly the atrocious performance of the moderators. And that is something that is, as a Trump supporter, you've come to expect from Anderson Pooper and Dana Bash over there at CNN all the way back in 2016, or Caitlin Collins and Chris Wallace in 2020. Moderators need to interject on behalf of the Democrats and wage a stronger war against Trump than his supposed debate opponent. And this across the board. ABC's moderators, brother, were really bad. They were really bad. The way that they would constantly let Kamala go on and respond to what Trump was saying, the way that they would underhand pitch topics to her. Meanwhile, they would try to drill in specifically, Donald Trump, you said, and seemingly backtracked on your staunch opinion that you didn't in fact lose in 2020. In fact, here are 3 of your quotes, and frankly, you want to say that that's sarcasm? I didn't glean any sarcasm. And it's like, motherfucker, I'm not debating you here, David. But let's talk about these fools. President Donald Trump repeatedly found himself on the back foot Tuesday night during his debate with Vice President Kamala Harris. Not exactly true, as Republicans seethed over repeated fact checks of the GOP candidate and noticeably lighter touch of the Democrats' own disputed statements. Especially when Kamala runs out the long debunked Charlottesville hoax. And you know who had to fact check that? That was Trump himself. Harris, 59, arrived well prepared to rattle Trump by claiming that military leaders had told him, that the Republican nominee and the 45th president was a disgrace. Meanwhile, Trump could just, go to readily available numbers, facts, and figures that show how much of a disgrace. But Kamala's rejoinder is, people tell me that they don't like you. It's like, okay, but the world is laughing at the United States thanks to your regime. But you also wanted to, because everything out of this bitch's playbook was totally and completely ripped from her contemporaries. Like her trying to run back what Joe Biden was a classic at doing in 2020, was saying, this man, he needs to realize he's running against Joe Biden and not Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Hillary Clinton. Kamala was doing that when Trump was trying to hit her on her own policy decisions. Donald needs to understand that she's not running against Joe Biden. It's like, what's the name of the ticket? Or at least what it was at the beginning of this cycle. Biden, Harris. Oh, right. So these are your policies. And you couldn't get anything done just because you're not president, but your vice president, and Joe Biden doesn't even know he's alive. Another zinger from Trump. But Trump found himself having to answer not only Harris's repeated and pointed attacks on both his pride and policy. Who's writing this shit, man? This is kind of crazy in and of itself. But also a pair of moderators who quibbled with some of the statements, all of the statements, despite what his supporters viewed as a lack of even-handedness. Well, that's exactly what it was, bro. You break it down minute by minute and statement by statement, who interrupted who the most. Oh, and this one was especially egregious. When Trump argued that crime in the United States is increasing because of migrants allowed into the country under Harris's watch, World News Tonight anchor David Muir interjected, President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down. And then Trump fired back, yeah, with his own fact check, which is so wild that he has to fact check the moderator when the moderator's in the middle of spewing mainstream media propaganda. Wild. Yeah, they didn't include the cities with the worst crime, referencing the emission from data, from Los Angeles, New York City, and Chicago. Yeah, we don't really want to talk about that because those are like sanctuary cities, and reporting crime is like racist or something. 45th president also brought up short when he said Biden sent Harris to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did, and the war started 3 days later. And then Muir asked Harris, Vice President Harris, did you ever meet with Vladimir Putin? With the Democrat duly citing, it as one of Trump's lies. Yeah, he said you met with Zelensky, you were supposed to meet with Putin, but you only wanted to meet with Zelensky. Like I said, there's one of those underhanded softballs. Did you ever meet with Putin? I was like, that's normally how if you're going to be an intermediary, if you're going to try to moderate, something that ABC should really take pointers from. If you're going to try to mediate a heated situation like an active war zone, you want to meet with both participants and you want to be even-handed on that. But at another point, World News Tonight Sunday host Lindsay Davis intervened after Trump made references to former Virginia Democratic Governor Ralph Northam's 2019 remarks, about aborting babies after birth. Will be taken care of, or they'll be placed in a soft and a secure room while the mother and the doctor can decide what to do. Part of an extended commentary by the former president about his belief in state autonomy and legal access to the procedure in cases, with all of the exceptions that you've all known and have driven into your mind at this point in time, but Democrats just simply don't want to believe that that's the case. It's like you can look at the governor of West Virginia, and Trump mixed that up a couple of different times, but it's not like, referencing Ralph Northam and saying, the former governor of North Dakota. He wasn't doing anything like that, and Joe Biden would say, it used to be one of the consigliaries of the 13 colonies. But to be completely honest, it was a 3-on-1 attack. It was one of Trump's better performances. It was ABC's shining hour of being a disaster area. Kamala Harris provided the best Democratic debate performance since 2016, but that's not anything really to write home about. But long story short, these debates aren't going to change anybody's mind. Everybody is already decided what they're going to do. All this is doing is just simply providing ammunition for people over these next 2 months as things are going to get crazy. And a lot of people were anticipating that the big October surprise on behalf of the Democrats was going to be a big Taylor Swift endorsement. She was going to come out for a Kamala Harris rally, which is still going to end up more than likely happening sooner rather than later. But as was brought up during the debate, Trump hosts the biggest, the best rallies, and Harris is out there saying that, people are leaving and they're so exhausted and they're bored. It just goes to show you the difference between the two candidates. People actually turn out by the thousands to hear Donald Trump speak. Meanwhile, with Kamala Harris, she has to put on a rap concert in order for anybody to actually give a shit. So until next time, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.